So with every year that goes by, I see on YouTube people advertise top 10 games of 2024, and with it going into now 2025, I thought of doing something a little bit different but kind of on the same par. I'm going to list my top 10 indie games of all time, and this is of all time at current date, and there is no particular order to this list. Everything is purely subjective when it comes to opinions, especially when it comes to tastes in different things and genres. So yeah, there's no specific order and it's up to you to choose, but I entirely recommend you play every single one. Even if it's not your thing, it could actually be a lot of fun. Starting us off is Angerfoot. Now, even the wife loves this game. This is all about the soundtrack, music, some dubstep and bass blasting in your ears as you go through room to room in these buildings and alleyways and such. You first person blast away anything that stands in your path. It is so much fun. It's one way to wake you up in the morning that coffee won't be able to do. And it just honestly feels so good. Just go from room to room and just annihilate everyone. There are tons of different difficulties. You can have it on easy, speed run, hardcore mode. Anyone can play it, anyone can win at it. It's just so much fun. I highly recommend it, even if it's just for the OSD. Next up is Inscription. Now this game, I don't really know too many card deck builders, but I've never seen one like this before, where it's completely roguelite, where you can go from the very starting deck where you have nothing and you just build and find ways to break the game. You learn the story within the story, and it's really dark and ominous. There's like creepy creatures and characters. You learn more about the world and the lore, and it builds upon itself. It's so good. The dev who made this game is really good at making a story, I'll give him that, but it just feels and looks so aesthetically pleasing. I highly recommend this. It also builds upon every time you die as well, so even if you suck at the start, you just get better and better over time. Highly recommend. Now this next one looks aesthetically similar to Inscription, which is really good, and I quite like it, which is, you're going to notice a theme of this video, is it's quite a dark indie game. Buckshot Rel is a true high stakes game, and nothing really stops until you win or you naturally lose. It feels so real, which is, I guess, concerning for some people. Going from the high stakes of will you miss, will you fire a blank, will you not, who to shoot, it's so intense. When you first start playing it, you might feel the anxiety a lot, as I did, and it was just so good. I've never been a gambling man, but I could get addicted to this. It is so good.
Side note from the future, it now has multiplayer as well, so if you haven't given Buckshot Rel a chance, please do it. It is so much fun. You will not regret it.
Up next is Darkwood. Now this is like more of a pure horror game, but I've never been a big fan of cheap jump scares, and this one does not do any of that. It's top-down survival horror where you just kind of go around the world and everything that's not in your view is completely invisible. Like, you can remember obviously where houses and buildings are, but everything moves around outside of that, and it doesn't take it easy on you, which I love. It's really thrilling to learn the story, and I mean, when you get to the end and find out what's going on, it's pretty messed up depending on how close to the true ending you get. So I highly recommend that. Great story, good fun, a true atmospheric kind of horror game. Next up, on a similar kind of scene to Anglefoot actually, is Fury. And Fury is so amazing. I have loved this game since it came out years ago, and it's a good hack and slash kind of top down, heavy like dubstep trap music in the back. It's so good. The OST I have listened to for years. It's beautiful. It really gives you the feeling that you are kicking ass, and you kind of go through the motions of going from boss to boss. Everyone is different. It's a boss rush game technically. You both have different phases and life bars, and it's just so intense. I highly recommend this to anyone. There are different difficulties. You can do this on a very easy mode. In all honesty, it's very straightforward. Or you can do the speed run, hard modes. Anyone can play it. Anyone can do it. I highly recommend it. It is so good. Next up is a bit different. This is more for my 3% audience out there, my readers, and this one is kind of very straightforward, where it seems simple, but it's very non-linear. You know, slay the princess, that's what you're told to do, but you can go about that way, or you can go about it in many different obscure major or minor ways. And it leads you down to different paths that just accumulate together to form the ending, and it just all pieces itself together, and it just feels so good. I've personally never been much of a reader since my teens, but things like this kind of bring me back, where the story really has an impact and it matters and it kind of grips you in, and it's so good. You just want to finish it all, and it's great. So yeah, for my readers out there, this one's for you.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
A little bit of a segue here, but this is the next one. And I am not going to list them all because that would be here all day. I can't do that. But literally any Xbox Classic, PS2 remake, remaster, like Spyro, Crash, they're all so good. There's really nothing you can say to change that fact. They've always been the classics. Even if you boot up the PS2 emulator or something like that, all those classic games are amazing. Purely bias and nostalgia, I'm sure, but they are great. Even to this day, I boot up games on my emulator like Shinobi and stuff like that. It is great. Go back, play these remasters. It doesn't matter, they are awesome, and just give them a chance. They will take you away. Each one is unique, each one has a great story. In minor or major ways, it can probably impact you in the ways it impacted me and made me who I am today. Up next we have the Stanley Parable. Now this one, it's actually got the same narrator as Slay the Princess, but first person and going around this kind of factory facility, kind of, you're given the story and this part to play in the game, but you can choose to go about it, you can choose not to. There are many minor and major ways you can impact the whole world of the game and change the whole story and just make it something weird and different. It's really amazing. I cannot recommend this more. It is so good. If you don't mind a bit of walking sim with a great story and ways you can influence the whole world, it is very fun. And to top us all off, we have Total Chaos. Now, this one is a bit obscure. You're in this whole island, this tiny place out in the middle of nowhere, and you're looking for something, but there's a lot of things wrong on the island, and you go through it and uncover things. You think you can trust people, maybe you can, but there are a lot of twists and turns as you piece the story together and figure out what's going on, and you're like, oh, this is not good. This is not great. And it is really a kind of great horror game that builds upon itself and makes you put it all together. Great dark themes, as most of this whole video has been about. But yeah, it's a great game that I was recommended, and now I'm passing it on to you guys. But yeah, that's my top 10, guys. What did you all think? I hope you didn't mind the real quick to action, kind of short paced, to the point kind of video, but I thought being short and brief and giving you little demos of it would be a real great way to segue the whole video. But yeah, that's it for me today, guys. I'm still around, I'm not going anywhere. I've got some stuff building up in the works, and I really hope you enjoy.